right. All right, we are live. We'll give it about a minute, 30 seconds at least, and then we will jump in. We are live on YouTube. Let me double check. And we should be live in the Black WPT Facebook group. Check in. Yep, I see us. We are also, let's see. Yeah, I think it's Facebook and we should be live in LinkedIn as well. So awesome. All right. So hello everybody. Hello. Come on in. I think we got a few people in here now. Give it a few seconds, let you guys jump in. I have the founders of AI Makerspace in here. And they're going to be joining us. And we're going to talk about all the cool things that they have going on. Jump into a little AI discussion. And then take some questions from you all. So just come on in, come on in. Awesome. All right, so if you guys don't know who I am, my name is LaShawna E. Nichols. People call me LE. I'm the founder of Black WPT. We're a live community. We started on Facebook. We technically still are a Facebook group. Started in 2013. And yeah, we're a live community for Black tech professionals. And primarily developers are in our group, but we have all types of technologists. So really excited to have our guests, Greg and Chris from AI Makerspace. Sarah is also here too. I believe she's in the background, but she's not going to pop on. So let's see here. Chris and Greg, say hello, please.
What's up, everybody? It's great to be here with you.
What's going on? Happy to be here.
These guys founded AI Makerspace, and before we jump into sort of what they do, I actually ask ChatGPT, what is a makerspace? And I know that you guys know what it is, or at least most of you know what it is, but I wanted to bring up ChatGPT, and I want to read what ChatGPT says a makerspace is. All right, so let's start there. I asked this earlier, and ChatGPT brought me back this. It says, a makerspace, also known as a hack lab, fab lab, or a hacker space, is a collaborative workspace where people with common interests, often in computers, technology, science, digital art, and DIY, do-it-yourself projects, can meet, socialize, and collaborate. Makerspaces typically offer tools and equipment that individuals might not have access to otherwise, like 3D printers, laser cutters, CNC machines, soldering irons, and even sewing machines. It says these spaces are designed to encourage experimentation and innovation, offering a community-driven environment where people of all skill levels can learn from each other. It says, and this is the final, well, couple more sentences. It says, they can be found in various places such as libraries, schools, universities, and standalone facilities. The concept is rooted in the maker movement, which emphasizes learning through doing in a social environment. All right, so Chris and Greg, how does that resonate with AI Makerspace? Like, it's pretty much the same concept, right? Except the emphasis is on AI, correct?
You know, I love that introduction, LaShawna, because, you know, one of the key things behind the maker movement is creation over consumption. And that's exactly one of the things we're all about. You know, for 10 years, I taught at the university. I taught mechanical engineering, manufacturing engineering, 3D printing, CNC cutting, all this stuff. And that was sort of before I went all in on AI. And all along, I saw that students that I was working with only the ones that decided to not just learn new things, but actually use those new things they learned to build awesome projects, and then take it a step further and actually share those awesome projects with other people that were into that stuff. Because if you know anything about manufacturing, you know, most people are not into it, but the people who are into it are really into it. And this is also true with sort of the open source edge of AI. And this idea of learning, of then building, and then sharing really form the basis of the ethos for AI Makerspace today. So what we say is we say build, ship, share, and we do this in a community of other people building, shipping, and sharing, making awesome things. In this case, large language model applications. And it doesn't take degrees, it doesn't take prestige, it doesn't take a PhD, it doesn't take that new freshie certificate. It just takes making awesome things, creating stories, and doing it with other like-minded folks. And that's how I like to introduce people. And I say, welcome to the AI Makerspace.
I love it.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that resonates most strong to me with what you outlined from our friend ChatGPT is this idea of, you know, it's a broad set of different skill sets and tools that come together in a makerspace, right? It's everything from, you know, traditional machining to carpentry to all of this. And I mean, obviously, AI makerspace, we're not building birdhouses, but we do use a collection of different tools, you know, vision models, text models. You know, we use a collection of different platforms. We use a collection of different techniques, and you know that kind of representation of a number of different tools in the space is kind of what, you know, brings that collective feeling and allows that expertise sharing to really kind of improve the quality of every project by having people who know their specific wheelhouse or tool set very, very professionally.
I like that. I really like that explanation. It's funny because the core concept that ChatGPT touched on was tinkering. And I've been in you guys' repository on GitHub. And I pulled down some of those tinkering projects, and I've been tinkering, like literally tinkering with some of your repositories and some of your quick start guides. It really is tinkering, and I love it. I love that basis of sort of how you guys founded that.
Yeah, you know, just on the tinkering point, I mean, this is such a perfect word because, you know, in order to figure out what you're going to create, you have to tinker, you have to explore, and you have to experiment. And tinkering is sort of an action-led word rather than just I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna think about it forever until I know exactly what I'm gonna do. It's like that's never gonna really get you where you're trying to go. So I think that's exactly right, tinkering. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. I'm going to read you guys' bios because I want to jump in and make sure I get all these questions that I have, and plus leave a little bit of time for anyone who has a question. If you have a question, we're going to drop a Slido in the comments. I think we're going to drop it in it should show up in the group like normal. It should show up in the group and also in YouTube. But we're going to drop a Slido, and you can also comment inside of the Facebook group chat, and we'll see it as well. So start adding your questions as we go. But I do want to take some time and read Greg and Chris's bio, just to kind of give you guys an idea of sort of who they are, and then right before we jump into all these questions. So, all right, so here we go. Dr. Greg L. is the co-founder and CEO of AI Makerspace, where he is an instructor for AI Engineering Bootcamp. Since 2021, he has built and led industry-leading machine learning and AI bootcamp programs. Previously, he worked as an AI product manager, a university professor teaching AI, and an AI consultant and startup advisor, and ML researcher. He loves trail running and is based in Dayton, Ohio. Wow, cool. All right, and then we have Chris A. So Chris A is the co-founder. Chris A is the co-founder and CTO of AI Makerspace, where he is an instructor for the AI Engineering Bootcamp. Previously, he worked as both a founding MLE and data scientist. As an experienced online instructor, curriculum developer, and YouTube creator, he's always learning, building, shipping, and sharing his work. He loves Dungeons and Dragons, yes, and is based in Toronto, Canada. You want to talk a little bit about that Toronto, Canada weather right now? It's cold here in the Bay Area, so.
Yeah, it's weirdly warm here. It's not warm compared to maybe some of the states, but for us, we're not very cold compared. I know everyone else is getting absolutely hammered though, so it's we'll send some of our warmth down, I guess.
Please do send it to the Bay Area because it's freezing over here. And then their AKA is Dr. Greg and the Wiz.
That's right.
All right, we're gonna jump into some questions. I learned about AI Makerspace from Sarah, was sharing things on LinkedIn and really just talking very highly of the programs that you all have. And as a lot of people know, that I recently just joined an organization, and our core foundational software, the work that we do is surrounding AI. So I had to hit up Sarah and ask her, tell me about this group that you're working with. And she was so pumped and so juiced. And anything Sarah tells me, I believe it anyways. She didn't really have to persuade me that you guys were good at what you did. But after doing a little bit of digging, and like I said, I hopped in the repo and saw that you guys have these really cool quick start guides to sort of give a foundational understanding of AI. And again, I'm not a programmer, I'm not anymore at least, but even I was able to sort of jump in. And I knew that just by going and downloading that repo and running through those quick start guides with those examples, I knew that this is something that a developer, that someone with technology experience can possibly come in and learn and upskill. And so that's why I wanted to deliver it to our Black WPT group, and really anyone who has an interest in AI and sort of getting a foundational knowledge. And that's why I invited you all on. So thank you, Sarah. And I know Sarah, I've known her for many years. Don't ask me how I know her. But I want to jump into some questions. And then, like I said, we are strapped for time. We got 1 hour with you fellas. So I want to make sure that we get as many questions in. So I will start with, can you please just go into what AI Makerspace is? Just you kind of already went into it a little bit, but if you can elaborate.
Yeah, AI Makerspace is a company that provides training and consulting at the open source edge of AI. We teach large language model concepts and code, from application prototyping to production operations. We do this through our content on YouTube and through our courses that are live online. And we're really aimed at accelerating the LLM application development and the process of building those for both individuals and so they can take their career to the next level, like much of your audience, as well as for companies that are trying to take it to the next level. Ultimately, we want to build the world's leading community for people that want to be prototyping and building production LLM apps on the edge. And we try to make it easy for folks around the world to build, ship, and share their applications in our Discord and through their own content that we facilitate weekly. Mm-hmm. So in a nutshell, that kind of covers the content, the courses, and the community. That's at the core of what we do.
Got you.
Can't say it better than that.
Chris? Sorry.
Can't say it better than that. Nope. That's the idea. Build, get out there and start getting your hands on projects and using these tools. Yeah.
Are you guys seeing a lot of tech companies sort of coming to you all for upskilling for their current tech team, or what are you guys seeing in the market right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly individuals that come to us, but we'll see people from all the blue chip companies out there, the FANG companies, the MANG companies, the new FANG companies. We can talk about that, I think, a little bit with one of the later questions. But, from every company that you've probably heard of, we'll see some of the folks that are in there looking to upskill come to us We've started to work with a few teams here and there, but it's mostly the individuals that are really interested in getting after it themselves, because it turns out just because you work at Meta, just because you work at Amazon, just because you work at Google, doesn't mean you get paid to stay out on the edge. You get paid to do your job, and you really have to work on staying out on that edge after work. And so we get a lot of those folks coming to us. Yes.
Got it. In your opinion, sort of what is the most complicated part to grasp with sort of upskilling in AI? What would you say?
I'll let Chris take a crack at this one. Most complicated.
Yeah. Well, I have to say something along the lines of it's actually not all that complicated. It is technical, and it is something that's at times not intuitive, but actually working with the systems, actually interacting with AI or machine learning models, LLMs, whatever have you, it's quite an intuitive thing, right? These models are built to be good at the thing humans are good at, which is communication. If you're adept at communicating with others, communicating with the model is not so different, right? In terms of building and scaling the applications and getting into the operational side of things, if you don't love DevOps, it might feel very complicated, but for the most part, I think building with these systems is a lot more accessible than people might think or is sometimes talked about. I really do think these technologies build themselves to be very accessible, and so if I had to laser focus it on one thing that was most complicated, it's definitely operationalizing, which is the case for most technological systems. So,
yeah, I mean, the question is a great question, and the answer, of course, with all great questions, is that it depends. We get engineers coming in that have a very light machine learning background, and so the difficulty there is really grokking even core machine learning concepts, whereas they can pick up the operational stuff a lot easier. And then we get sort of the research or data scientists coming in that's been very opposed, very averse to actually doing engineering. And maybe they're even called an MLE, but they actually aren't really doing a lot of engineering. And those people really struggle as soon as you get into deployment, as soon as you get into containerization and trying to actually do things that scale out, and especially the operational piece for those folks. But I mean, the one thing that everybody struggles with, I think, even if they're good at using it, is understanding the transformer. Attention is all you need, and this is one thing that we literally cannot make enough specific, super detailed content on, and we continue to try to. So that jumps out to me as well.
That is, that's. Can you talk a little bit more about when you say the operational side is a little bit difficult for people who haven't had a chance to sort of dabble with AI just yet, or any of the models or APIs that exist? Can you maybe just go into a little bit of sort of what the operational side of AI looks like, and how does that play into what you guys teach?
For sure. Yeah, the idea of kind of like interacting with a system or a model in a local environment or in a an experimental fashion is pretty straightforward, right? We just need one model that we can interact with, but scaling that up to be able to handle many thousands of user requests, scaling up to be able to ensure that the inputs and outputs of the model are safe, making sure that it's able to handle these impressive loads without absolutely blowing up your AWS bill, and that the responses can come in a timely fashion. All of those components that kind of exist around like how is the user experience using a product you've built with AI, and how can we coordinate all these different microservices together to let us do these things like RAG or retrieval augmented generation, which is a pattern in AI. All of those kind of widgets or surrounding ecosystem is some of the things that we discuss in our courses to be able to let people build applications that aren't just for them, but are able to be shared with others and able to be taken to the next level to, for lack of a better term, operationalize the application. I'll let Greg add some context there, but
I mean, I just have one thing to say, which is sort of like the first operation is your initial deployment. So you can sort of think about classic MLOps level 0, level 1, level 2. You know, if you can just get that thing out in front of somebody else outside of your computer onto a public URL, that's your sort of op. And then, okay, how do you start continuing to make sure that's available for one or more users? How do you improve it? When do you retrain it? How do you sort of even take some of the design and product perspective of how do I make it easier to use for people? What data do I collect from them? That sort of ops piece, when you start to run through cycles of that, that's where it starts to obviously get a lot more complex. But we definitely focus a lot on prototyping and then give people the tools that they need to succeed when they do get something that operates for more than one person 1 or 2 times.
All right. What type of, because I know it's better to come in with some sort of skill set. I mean, AI is a big, like, it's a big skill to have, like understanding it and sort of how it operates. What would be some of the foundational or prerequisites that you would suggest for someone who might be interested in sort of diving into AI deep?
Yeah, great question. You know, and I think what we hear from people that succeed in our courses is they say, you know, like, you know, I took this Coursera course on Python. I took this EDX course on data science. I took Andrew Ng's courses on deep learning AI, you know, but I'm really not quite getting it all the way yet. I haven't achieved my goals. I can't get the job. I don't know exactly what's relevant. I'm not sure I can keep up with it. And I would say that basis that they built up over that time, they learned the core Python techniques. They learned how to leverage Python to actually build and train machine learning models. And they did some aspect of hopefully touching on a little bit of deployment, a little bit of web framework, a little bit of containerization. And that taken together will allow you to succeed. Now, the bare minimum is, can you use a Jupyter notebook and create machine learning models? If you can, we've got some places that you can start to pick up the web framework, pick up the containerization, get your first deployment in, start tapping into LLMs. But if you can't yet do enough Python to even run a Jupyter notebook, you're not ready yet. And I would just recommend going back to Deep Learning AI, starting with their most recent machine learning specialization course. That's going to force you not just to like learn random Python, but like learn only the Python you need to do the machine learning things that you want to do. So that's the quick high level from me.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Definitely back it up. Got to have some Python in there. Got to have some understanding of application development and the kind of application lifecycle and how we interact with tools beyond just running scripts locally. So yeah.
What other languages? Like, are you when you are doing your cohorts and you're teaching, are you primarily teaching in Python? Are you guys leveraging other languages, or is Python sort of the core of what the skill set would be to need to jump in?
Python is a language of choice for AI development right now, especially at the level that we're talking about. Obviously, as you look to scale up in larger and larger industry settings, you know, the ability to specialize in specific languages becomes more and more important. But at the kind of accessible level, Python can sit at every part of the stack, and because of that, it's uniquely suited to be the language of choice for AI engineering. It's
in other words, like just learn Python and then like figure it out later if you need to learn other stuff. Yeah.
Got it. All right, this is like a little bit off. Well, I wouldn't say it's off topic. It's about AI, but companies are laying off right now. Like you guys have been seeing, like there's been so much going on in tech. You know, there's been layoffs, and which I feel that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of the folks who are sort of starting to get interested in AI are either folks who were laid off or folks who are concerned about being laid off and wanting a skill set or wanting to upskill to sort of stay in the loop, right? What type of folks are you seeing coming into your AI makerspace? I guess is the question.
Well, I mean, we're seeing folks from all over the spectrum. Really, a lot of times, like we just got a great question in the chat for total neophyte. What should I do? When people come to us and they ask questions like that, we push them, and I'll go ahead and share this in the chat now as well. We push them to the machine learning specialization from deep learning AI, and I will continue to do that with people because there's a certain amount of baseline that you need. Now, if you were working as an engineer or data scientist and you got laid off, then you have some skills. You don't need to sort of take that approach. I have some thoughts on sort of the tech layoffs in general and how they relate to AI. I mean, there's obviously a lot of things going on in the world, high interest rates, companies need to do more with less. And it's really been unclear, especially for data scientists, how exactly they're adding to the total revenue of the company for many years. We saw during COVID, there was a ton of layoffs for data scientists. And it was like, oh my God, can't believe it. Because they're all just like doing a bunch of research and not making the company any money. That's a problem if you're looking for full-time employment at a very high dollar salary. Nobody's ever going to get paid to do research. That's why researchers can't command a very, very high salary. Unless, of course, you work at OpenAI or you're way out on the application edge.
Right.
And so if you want to work in research, then you're going to have to just deal with whatever the research salary is. If you want to be an engineer, if you want to be a data scientist in industry, you have to keep up with exactly what's going to make the company money today and tomorrow, not yesterday. And so, one of the things that we're constantly trying to preach from the mountaintops now is like, if you want to be a data scientist in 2024, you actually need to understand so much more of the engineering stack than you used to, because the hottest new thing out there is retrieval augmented generation, these RAG systems. And if you can't understand soup to nuts RAG, you can't sit on top of it and help optimize it and help decide what data you should be collecting from your users, what data you should augment with it, how you can be data centric, how you should do fine tuning of LLMs and embedding models. You can't operate that thing and be useful in that context at all unless you understand the basics, which are mostly engineering. So the data scientist of tomorrow, while there's a place for these roles, it's not going to be with the same stuff you've been doing the past few years. And it's just like the classic thing, right? If you want to be at the edge, you're going to get cut sometimes, right? And it's like, if you want to be at the bleeding edge as a data scientist or an engineer, you have to learn faster than the competition, which is everybody else trying to get that 150, 175K a year salary. So the tech layoffs, they don't surprise me. I think it's sort of the world is kind of moving back to this, research and development. And like, if you're not doing development and engineering, you don't sort of have a stable salary. If you're doing research, maybe there's a really hot research thing and you can get in on that, but you got to stay up with the hot research things if you want to keep getting paid on that front. And so, the companies, I understand it from a company perspective. If you're not making money, if you're not making me money, why am I paying you a salary? And if you're doing data science and you're just doing like insights and analysis, you might get a paper, but you're not gonna get any revenue. So I'll step off the soapbox.
No, you guys just heard it. There's a whole bunch of data scientists in our group too. So hopefully he didn't hurt anybody's feelings, but he's telling the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. It's the truth.
I mean, it's like, that's what we're here for, is to help people see the light. And it's like, you want to make that 120, 175, you can, but you got to work hard, harder than everybody else out there trying to get after it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think as AI tools become better, as they become more ubiquitous, you also face this challenge of, if you're developing without those tools, you don't have an understanding of those tools, then you're also losing a massive multiplier on your effort. It's the same thing that we saw when kind of these, more robust IDEs came in, or more robust tool sets came in, or like, I know it's like the classic comparison when the web became very popular, right? It's the same kind of thing where the adoption of the tool and understanding of the tool allows you to leverage that very tool to be a multiplier on your potential output. And if you are outputting at 1.5 times, the industry standard, there's going to be a place for you over people who are only outputting at 1 times that average output. And so I think that's both from the application of the tool perspective and also the use of the tool perspective. It's just, someone in the chat, I think, said it very succinctly, if a little bit crudely, which is evolve or die, right? Like that's where we're at.
Yeah. Well, and you're reminding me of two things, Chris, that'll kind of tie this back together to the original question. One is when I talk to CTOs today, like CTOs that are OGs in the game, they've been around for 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, dude, Greg, this AI thing is like, yeah, it's like the web, except it's like the web on super steroids. Because it's not just that it's going so fast, it's that it's maturing to like a truly business value level in the blink of an eye, in months, not years. And so like, they're like, I've seen everything and I've never seen anything like this. And this is the thing that we all, as early stage career people, have to try to understand and wrap our minds around. And, the other thing that I'll sort of add back to your sort of, what kind of people are coming to you, all sorts of interesting, older, mid to late stage career people will come to us.
Really? Wow.
Wow. Like, I know that if I stay at this other place, they're just going to have me keep working on this stupid thing that's not where the world is headed. Or they'll say, I actually, because of this cool new AI thing, I want to dedicate the next chapter of my career to this and fully switch over to it. Can you help me? And maybe they were an executive for 10 years or a VP for 10 years. And they're like, I actually want to get back into the code because this is so cool and I don't even know what I could build. And the most fun one is many people have come to me now and they're like, I was retired, but this is so cool that I unretired myself just to start tinkering. Right. And so
when I came to you, I think I came to Chris. When I came to Chris, I'm like, look, I'm really just looking to hire people. Like, but this is cool. I want to learn about it. So
yeah, there's a serious cool factor that is highly, highly, underappreciated, I think.
We've all been growing up with it.
Trying to get money,
for me, I've been growing up with AI and the idea of sci-fi AI since I was a kid. Is a lot of developers come from kind of technically nerdy backgrounds and this and that. And I think when you see that Jarvis is real, it's tough. It's tough to not want to play around with that, right?
Yes.
So,
got it. So, individuals who come to you guys who are already sort of employed or already at the organization, are they coming to you and they're saying like, hey, I want to encourage my company to adopt AI? Or are they saying, hey, I want to learn a completely different skill set and maybe move to a different department? Or what are you like? Is that common? Is that common to hear a developer say that they want to move to a different department or encourage their company to adopt it? Are you guys hearing that?
Yeah. I would say our core audience, the persona we're serving the most, the type of person we're serving the most is the person who wants to do the AI engineering themselves. And this is somebody that if they're not allowed to do it at work, they want to get out because they want to get paid to work on these tools. They want to get paid to work in LangChain, to work in AWS Bedrock. They want to get paid to get experience with the tools that everybody's talking about. And if they're not there and their company's not going to get there, they want to get out. If their company could get there, they're trying to help steward that. And the secondary audience that comes to us is exactly what you said, LaShawna. It's the people that they're like, I'm trying to get my company to adopt this and nobody understands. And I'm like, dude, tell me about it. It's like, that's what we deal with all the time. And what those folks are trying to do is they're trying to develop the language that they need and the understanding they need to tell their teams what to build. Because it's been so fast that this has evolved that if you were an individual contributor, if you were an engineer just 2 years ago, but you've been a manager since, you haven't built anything that your people should be building. Yeah. And so like you have to go learn and look at the code again and redo all these things as a manager now. And so those folks, and they say, well, I need help, have my company adopted. It's like, well, I'm not helping you do that, my friend, because that's your problem. Yeah. And we're not a big enough company at this point, AI Makerspace, to want to serve that middle of the distribution. Like, if you can't speak our language about RAG, about fine tuning, about evaluation, about agents and deployment, if we can't even have the same conversation using the same words, there's nothing for us to talk about today. But we're giving that language to the AI engineering leaders, and they're having to disseminate it in their companies. And if the true unicorn is the AI engineer aiming at becoming the AI engineering leader that wants to not only learn to do it themselves,
I love that.
Bring like a new young buck, like a senior from college intern in, and then, start building their team and their vision for the company. And that's really the unicorn AI engineer of the future. That's what all of, the youngest career professionals could potentially be aiming at. That's how you really take it to the next level. And you won't be at your company for long if you do that. I can tell you that for sure.
One of the things too that I think is worth kind of, spending a little bit of extra time on is this idea of when people are talking to us and they're in companies and their company is talking about AI strategy, they really want that literacy to be able to engage in that conversation in a meaningful way. And I think that's a large part of what people who are in established careers who aren't looking to make a transition, that's what they're coming to us for, so that they can be able to participate and guide those conversations in a way that's informed. I think, when we talk to people who are very ambitious, it's one thing, but there are some people who are just looking to be able to be in that conversation and to make sure that conversation is progressing in a way that makes sense, given how quickly the field evolves. Like the wisdom from January 17th, 2023 is very different from the wisdom January 17th, 2024. And being able to keep up in that sense is a huge burden. It's a huge effort. And being in a community helps ease the burden some. So
awesome. All right, I want to talk really quick about sort of the cohorts. And I mean, what makes these cohorts that you all are sort of spearheading, what makes them different, if anything?
Yeah, I love that. Well,
and the reason why I ask you this, because I have been they have, for folks who don't know this, they have a really fantastic community on Discord. So make sure you join that AI Makerspace Discord. It's for anyone can join. But the cohorts are a separate thing, but like that community is strong and they love AI Makerspace. So that's why I'm like, when I joined the Discord, I realized that there was something different about these cohorts.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And I think this kind of goes back to, like, I'll take you back to 2020 when the world went remote. I kind of at that time decided, okay, I had been teaching for a long time. I've been teaching in person, teaching manufacturing, and all these other things that are required. And I decided, I want to go all in on online learning, because I think that this idea of, place independent, you can connect with everybody all over the world. It's such a massive potential for education and for disruption. I want to really go all in on this. And I started doing that in 2020. I eventually moved out to the Bay Area for a little while. And I started working with a company called Fourth Brain. That's within Andrew Ng's AI fund. I got the privilege of working closely with Deep Learning AI, and I started to see how boot camps were built, and how generally people were, I saw the university for a long time. I tried to do my own thing. I learned some things. I went out, I studied the way boot camps were built. I tried to understand, like, where's the bottleneck here in quality and in the student experience? Because the real difference between just curriculum being slapped around with curriculum from Udemy or something and going to like a university is the social context. And that's really the competitive advantage of the university. And so it became clear to me that you have got to control this experience for the student, the customer, the learner, in such a way that it feels seamless and it feels like they really just came to a show, right? And this is at the core of what we do. So a lot of times you'll take a boot camp, you'll take an online boot camp, and you'll be like, oh my God, right? And you'll fall asleep just like in class with some snooze fest professor, but this new idea of sort of edutainment a little bit is really at the core of what is needed to keep people's attention. And so what we do in class is we make sure that we cover concepts and we cover code, and you spend time with one another, and it's in a way that is sort of self-guided by you. So this idea of, have you ever been in a breakout room that didn't suck? Have you ever been on a Zoom call that wasn't terrible? Many people will still say, no, I don't believe it's possible, right? Don't even believe it's possible. Well, it turns out it is possible. And the only reason I know that is because we've been doing it for years now. We need to iterate on it and get better and better and better over time. So the core of what makes us uniquely better, besides, having the LLM wizard crushing it out there on the very edge of what's possible all the time, and an awesome community of people also crushing it out on the edge, is that we actually have this experience that we've designed that is going to be different than any Zoom room experience you've ever come across.
I think one of the things that Greg says a lot that to me differentiates us between other communities or other cohort-based learning is that we are a service business. That is our core. We are there to provide a service, and we're there to provide as good a service as we can. It's not about bums in seats, or it's not about getting people to convert through some program. It's about delivering an excellent experience to make people feel like they have access to this community that's vibrant and thriving. And I think that's it all comes together at the end of the day to really both attract the kinds of people who would enjoy that experience, and then allow them to amplify and broadcast to others like them that they might enjoy this experience as well. And that curation of kind of building from the smallest audience and trying to organically grow the group of folks we have means that the people who stick with the community are the kinds of people who would thrive here. And so that's it winds up multiplying at the end of the day. And I think that's something that's awesome. And we really have a huge focus on sharing knowledge, sharing expertise, communicating what you understand in your knowledge, not just with the community, with an audience at large, and building people who want to do that, right? Empowering them to do that, I think, makes it so much more exciting to be part of, because it's not like so quiet, right? There's people who everyone is empowered to share and to communicate about what they've learned and what they're learning.
I've seen people in the Discord, like they're collaborating.
Yeah,
like together and working on projects together. I'm like, whoa,
I know, right? Well, and like one of the things that this reminds me of is like that. Most of the other boot camps, the sad reality is that they are going to have some investors or have some other people that they need to answer to. Yep. They have a revenue thing they need to hit, yep. This, that, or the other. And yep. So what they do is they lower the barrier to entry. And they do that so they just can take your money. but actually it turns out taking your money doesn't help you get where you want to go. So we turn a lot of people away. Yeah. And we say, no, you're not ready. Go do this, go do that. We try to create those resources for them, because it's really, you're only going to get the transformation and you're only going to really get that $150K, $170K a year job once you're ready to truly accelerate. And we want you when you're ready, because we want you when you're ready this time. We want you back when you're ready in 5 years or 3 years or 2 years, because the world's going to change that fast. We're going to keep up with it, and we will be here for you. And we are a 100% bootstrapped company. We don't answer to anybody except our customers and our community members. And so, there's a number of things that definitely make us quite different amongst people that you might try to compare us to. Yeah.
I want to make sure we have time for questions, but before we do that, if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat, whether you're in the Facebook group or on YouTube or wherever you're broadcasting from. Put them in the chat, and then we'll, around a few minutes, we'll hop into some questions. But I wanted to make sure that I spoke with you two about, can you talk about how many cohorts are you guys running right now, and what's the focus of the ones that you all are running right now?
Yeah, we're about 6 months old now officially, and I've been building these programs since 2021. I saw machine learning engineering, machine learning ops, and then our first course that we built was LLM ops, doing LLMs in production. Our second course that came out of the first course was when people said, now I know how to build these LLM applications. They asked sort of, but I don't actually understand what's happening inside the LLM. Like, how is it trained, fine-tuned, aligned? How does reinforcement learning with human feedback work? What's going on here? And so we built a second class that was more about engineering the actual LLM, called LLM engineering. And what we've decided to do in 2024, and this is a very new recent release, is we've decided to combine these two courses into one, because in 2024, you don't just need to build RAG systems and deploy them with agents. You don't just need to build small, fine-tuned language models. You don't just need to do anything. You kind of have to do a little bit of everything. And as if any of you watched OpenAI's Dev Day, it's all about prompt engineering and then leveraging RAG or fine-tuning or both along the way to reach human level performance in your applications. So the new AI engineering bootcamp that we've created is now our flagship product. These are going to be 7-week programs, with the final week being focused on you building. And we're going to run these throughout the year. That's the current plan. If everything in the world changes, we'll adapt to it, and the program will evolve with it.
I think that this ties in very well to a question we talked about earlier, which is this idea that there is, this idea of layoffs is not, a mystery. It's happening. It's happening a lot. And the role kind of AI engineer is on the rise right now. And so being positioned to transition into that role is something that's necessary in today's employment climate. And so this is focused on getting you up to speed and getting you prepared for that role, so that you can make that healthy transition from your existing experiences to where we're heading.
If you go on Indeed, you go on LinkedIn, and you click on jobs, and you type in AI engineer, there is hundreds, probably thousands by now. Like there's a lot of AI, specific jobs out there that are looking for that skill set. So
right, and all of them just say every single thing you could possibly think of, and they're stupid because the people writing them don't actually know enough to write the specific things that they really do need. They're still learning too. Yeah. So part of what you need to do is you need to learn all the stuff and then go in and teach the person that wrote the JD all the stuff, so he can write or he or she can write future.
All right, Greg, I'm gonna send my JD and I'm gonna have you look over it.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's it.
I got my JD that I just wrote out, for the generative AI engineer. I'm gonna have you look over it And so we don't be out there looking crazy. Okay.
Right. I got you. No problem. No problem.
Awesome. All right. We want to jump into some questions. Let's see. Oh, one more question before we do that. You said that the cohorts are 7 weeks. Is it between like 4 to 7 weeks, or are they strictly 7 weeks?
They're 7 weeks. Yeah. Okay. So 6 weeks of curriculum, and then a 7th week of your sort of preparing for demo day. And that's our big, that's going to be your big showcase. That's going to be your story to tell at your company or your next job or your next interview or wherever it is that you're taking the story with you. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I know we were going to share a Slido. Were we able to pop that into the comments? I also see a bunch of questions in here too.
I think we're having some technical difficulties with the linking directly into the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we'll just go ahead and maybe take questions from the chat if there are.
Yeah, I'm getting a whole bunch in here. Let me see if I can go all the way up to see which ones are here. Somebody asked what a repo is.
You got that one, Michelle?
I'm not doing that. Would your product sidestep the need for leak code?
No. So, okay, this is a hot take for sure.
That is a good question.
That's a good question.
Oh, yeah.
This is the way that I've heard leak code described the best. And it's the way I'm going to describe it forever. Leak code is a secret handshake. In order to get a job, you have to know the secret handshake. There isn't rhyme or reason to the secret handshake, right? Like, and if you were a kid who had one, you know, it's a bunch of random things that you do, but it communicates that we're pals, we're talking the same language. So will this kind of thing do away with the leak code? Probably not. You still have to learn the handshake. Is the handshake necessary in today's age? Definitely not. AI is actually quite good at leak code style problems, but at the end of the day, it's just to show that you've done the thing that you know they've expected you to do, right? Every application, every interview will likely have a technical component for an engineering role, and it's likely to have some kind of leak code flavor to it. And it's the company knows that you know you're going to have to do it. And so you just have to do the reps, right? Build that strength, learn the handshake. But we can dream of a future where it's no longer necessary.
I have a hot take, and it flies in the face of Chris's hot take. My answer is yes, it can sidestep leak code.
Wow.
However, okay.
Do explain,
all right. If you want Mang, right? If you want Mang, okay. No, you don't get to just get Mang without leak code. It's not a thing. All right. You want NVIDIA, you want OpenAI, you want any of these big bad boys that have been around forever. Nope, you don't get to get them. Okay. However, if you play your cards right and you figure out, okay, what kind of company do I want to work at? Where are they? What size of company? Smaller, the better, to try to sidestep all of this garbage. Then you start doing your homework. Maybe you reach out to them before the program. Maybe you say, hey, listen, I love the work that you've done, future potential manager that doesn't even have a JD out yet because they're not sure how to write it. I would love to contribute to maybe your open source code. I'm not quite sure how. Maybe can I grab 15 minutes on your calendar? There's all sorts of offensive things that you can do.
This guy is giving free game, you guys. This is free game right here.
Now, okay, that's outbound. Okay, that's outbound. Okay, that's not even where you start. Where you start with is inbound, okay? Inbound means your profile. It means your creator vibe that you're putting out into the world. It means your network. Most people watch, almost nobody creates, right? Creation over consumption, back to makerspace. If you are a makerspace unto yourself, and you sort of share your learning journey along the way. Check it out, right? You're learning every class. You share what you learned from the assignment. You share the code. You share a quick Loom video. All of a sudden, this builds up. You smash it into the Amplify on Discord. People like it. You don't get 0 likes. Now, all of a sudden, you start attracting in the right kind of people that want to hire somebody like you. And If you layer in some outbound after or during a course like this, what happens is they go to your LinkedIn profile and they start to see, check out this content this person has been creating. Oh man, yeah, they're teaching their network. They're teaching their network exactly what I need my team to know, right? All of a sudden, gets really easy for you to do some outbound and get some conversations going. And why would somebody not hire you if you've already created value for their company through your demo day project, which you could easily align yourself to do? So I think there's many ways to do this. I've seen many people succeed. I help people do this all the time. But if you want Mang Fang, no, it's out.
That's awesome. That was free game. Like, yeah, you guys would rewind that part. That was deep. There's another question. It says, are there jobs that just need people to input info into AI?
Yeah, basically, they're not like well aligned with the AI engineer role, but there's absolutely data entry, there's data curation, there's a whole suite of positions which involves helping curate, create, and maintain high quality data sets. As well as your kinds of traditional prompt engineering jobs, which we're seeing those decline as the kind of rise of the AI engineer happens, but they're still going to be in existence for the next while. The thing that I think maybe I would add to this is that as an AI engineer, you're writing code, but you're also writing inputs to the LLM at the same time, right? So whenever you're creating an application, whenever you're building a tool with that is AI focused, you are putting the inputs to the AI as you're writing your code, and so you get it does feel like what you're doing at the end of the day is creating inputs to the LLM, even if there is an application layer that sits on top of that.
Got it. I always view from what I've learned, your courses or the cohorts that you all are doing are very hands-on. There's a question here. It says, how does your courses differ from the new free Amazon and Microsoft free offered courses?
Yeah, I mean, I would say fundamentally, if you're taking a course from Amazon, they're going to be like, yo, check out all this awesome Amazon stuff. Check out all this awesome Microsoft stuff. And what we're doing is we're saying, we don't care what your name is. We don't care about anything other than what are the industry best practice tools at the open source edge today. And if we have to pick a tool that's a closed source service tool, like we do have Amazon SageMaker and Amazon Bedrock in our course today, then we will put that in. But realistically, you go to Amazon or Microsoft to learn Amazon or Microsoft. You don't go there to get a breadth of the industry, and that's what we're providing in our course. Yeah.
And I think just to super double down on what Greg said, you go to Amazon to learn a tool, you come to us to learn the concepts, the actual underlying principles or ideas that are used to power those tools. We're not just communicating how to click the right sequence of buttons to get something going. We're teaching you how it works and why it works.
And we have no interest in competing with them on those courses, by the way, because they're going to have the best Learn My Tool course, as they should. So like when we do Amazon, we say, we're not going to sit here and teach you how to set up your IAM permissions on Amazon. Right. Go to Amazon and figure it out. You can't do that. There's no way you're going to be an AI engineer.
Right. Got it. That's great. Excellent. We got 2 minutes, you guys. I want to give you guys a chance to sort of drop links in, talk about where they can join the Discord community, and how can they see what classes you all have that are coming up. When's the next cohort happening?
Yeah. Next cohort is February 13th, launches, but there's no need to wait until February 13th to start engaging with us, start building, shipping, and sharing. We have a Discord community, it's been mentioned. We also have a community calendar. For instance, we've got community meetups that are public every Monday, every Friday, every Saturday. And then most often we'll have community meetups on Wednesday evenings as well that will get you building, shipping, and sharing. We'll get you building your own personal brand. And I did mention briefly in the beginning that we're sort of also a consulting business. This is a part of the business that I continue to sort of grow out. So if you're interested in potentially learning these new tools so you can start earning some money on a side gig that you can eventually break your day job with and start to do your own thing as a solo creator or as somebody that runs their own consulting business or beyond, that might be of interest to you too. We get together every Friday night. That's again a public thing as well. Awesome. So if you're an alumni, you can opt into AIM certified consulting. Chris is the community maestro, so I'll let him comment on what you can do to sort of jump in and start getting some value today for free.
Join the Discord. Come on down. We'll post another link in the chat right now from the AI Makerspace YouTube account. You can reach out to our community you just joined. It gives you instructions on what to do to get started. But really, once you're in the Discord, feel free to start building, shipping, sharing with us. Share your wins and successes. Ask questions. And when you have challenges, we have a whole community of people who are almost singularly passionate about this new thing. And I think you're never going to be at a loss for answers or explanations or congrats and kudos. But definitely join the community on Discord, and then check out our YouTube channel. We have weekly events. Follow or subscribe, click the bell, that kind of stuff to get notified when we're going live.
Like and sub,
smash that bell. Yeah,
every Wednesday, YouTube live, 10 a.m. PT. We're talking attention next week. We're talking RLHF the week after, and we've got a special big event the week after. It's going to be.
I gotta make sure I subscribe. I haven't subscribed yet, but I'm on it. Okay. And also, I'm going to share links and stuff too in our Black WPT group, on our Black WPT YouTube, and also on our LinkedIn as well. If you have not went to our LinkedIn, please follow our LinkedIn page on LinkedIn, where they won't let us stream unless we have at least 150 likes. And I just created the page, so please go like it. We appreciate it. I'll drop all the links there. Greg, Chris, Sarah, thank you guys. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody, we're going to close it up, and we're going to let these guys get back to all the fantastic work that they're doing. And I will drop links soon. So thank you all for joining us. And that's it. Let's do it.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye, guys.